Welcome to Mighty Married Moms. Join us at our kitchen table twice a week as the Mighty Married Moms, Debbie, Linda, Wendy, invite spectacular guests to weigh in on staying sexy, vibrant, and healthy, building marriages with soul-satisfying connection, raising happy, healthy, successful kids. Conversations with Mighty Married Moms will bring you closer to the life you really want. Episode 33.
Hi, and welcome to Mighty Married Moms. We are really excited today. We have an amazing guest with us, Laury Hammel. Laury Hammel is the founder of Longfellow Sports Club. They have in Wayland, Sudbury, Natick, Franklin, Massachusetts, and also Salt Lake City, Utah. Longfellow is the 45th largest health club in the United States and has been in business, and this is pretty impressive, for over 43 years. It includes tennis clubs, holistic health centers, children's centers, camps. They have everything there. Longfellow is recognized industry leader in innovative business practices, environmental responsibility, and community service. From the beginning, his business has had a mission of contributing to the health and well-being of the communities they serve. Longfellow Sports Club is also recently honored by the Boston Globe as one of the top places to work in Massachusetts. And if that's not enough, Laury has also founded the Sustainable Business Network of Greater Boston, which we can talk about. He founded the national business group Business for Social Responsibility and also co-founded BALI, the Business Alliance for Local Living Economies. He's the author of the book Growing Local Value, which features over 20 local businesses that have made major contributions to their communities. And while doing all this, he's raised 5 kids.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just
Mighty married dad.
Yeah, I know, right? And I just want to say as a member of Longfellow, it's always been a very special place to go. Your mission has created this place where you feel like you're part of a community. It feels like more than a place to go work out by far. And I jumped over to the other side as a fitness instructor at the gym and teach hydro conditioning. And being on the other side, I can definitely see why you're voted best place to work, because everybody there loves to be there. They love working there, and they really believe in the mission. So anyway, without further ado, tell us, where did the inspiration come from? You know, how did you do all these amazing things?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. And thank you for being such a longtime loyal member and a fantastic staff member. I'm out there sometimes doing a whirlpool while you're teaching a class. And it's a great class you're doing, and it's a lot of fun. And I remember one time you jumped in the whirlpool with me and about 20 ladies and introduced me to everybody.
I did.
That was fun.
On the spot right there.
And they were all pretty excited to meet me because they had all left another club. A lot of them had left another club, which they weren't happy. Well, they closed down, actually. They stopped offering water exercise. So they came over to us, and they were like, wow, this is so different. And they were very appreciative. So that was really sweet. So I appreciate you introducing me, both then and now. And also happy to be on this conversation with a group that is, marvelous married moms.
And mighty.
Mighty married moms. It's a great group because I consider parenthood to be the most important job anybody could ever do. And I'm happy to say that I just found out that I got my 4th grandchild on the way. So,
oh my God!
Congratulations!
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's a lot of fun being with grandkids.
Yeah.
So, actually, I was born and raised in Salt Lake City, Utah, which has a lot to do with my values. One is that I lived right next to the Wasatch Mountain Range, so I ended up spending a lot of time in the mountains, hiking and going to the canyons and skiing and just being outside. And I was an Eagle Scout, so I was brought up in the woods. I was brought up in the suburbs, but I was outside in the canyons and the woods a lot, and that really framed my commitment to the planet and to sustainability and to protecting this great gift from God, which is our planet. And where I was in Salt Lake City, there was actually the Kennecott copper mine and a smelter on the other side of the valley, and you would see the smokestack spewing all this incredibly poisonous sulfur dioxide and smoke into the sky all day long, every day. And during sunset, you'd see the whole thing covered with all this really poisonous gas. And I'm up in the mountains, and I'm like, it was just the contradiction between being in these beautiful, pristine, wonderful mountains, babbling brooks and nature, and then looking out over the valley and the other side, seeing this poisonous gas come out was pretty disturbing at a very young age. You know, I mean, it was just so, the contrast was so sharp and so distinct.
Yeah.
So from the very early on, I was, you know, anybody who's a Boy Scout from my point of view becomes an environmentalist because you're outside and you're camping and, you know, it's so wonderful. Why would you not want to protect that?
Right.
And so that had a lot to do with my values. And then the other thing is that I did grow up in a community that's as values oriented as any community you're going to find of that size in America, which is Salt Lake City. And when I grew up, it was, you know, in my third grade class, the teacher asked, how many kids in this class aren't Mormons? And I was the only kid to raise my hand.
Oh my gosh!
I was wondering, when you said you were from Salt Lake City, that was my first thought was...
So I was the only one to raise my hand. I'm looking around, and I'm like, whoa, I guess I'm the only non-Mormon in here, you know? which really wasn't, obviously, I was third grade. That means I was like 9 or 8.
Right.
9. And, you know, I look at a 9-year-old now and having that question asked, you know, that felt pretty odd at the time, you know. So I get out on the playground and I'm sort of in shell shock after that question. And he says, Laury, what's wrong with you? You an idiot? I'm a Catholic, but I'm not telling them.
Yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was pretty funny. So early on, growing up as a minority inside a very, very values-based culture like Salt Lake City and the Mormon culture, had a tremendous amount of contrasts involved in that culture. And one was everybody who wasn't a Mormon was on the same team. It was like we were Gentiles. And that's the only place in the world where a Jew is a Gentile, is in Salt Lake City. They don't actually use that term anymore. But that's how we were raised. But all of my best friends growing up, except for a couple, were Mormons. So I became very, very close with you know, thousands and thousands of good Mormon friends I grew up with, still see to this day. And I bring that up because so much of my value system really comes from the culture of the Mormon culture, because they have a thing called the word of wisdom, which is basically a prescription for health. Yes. You know, don't eat in moderation, don't have big sweets, don't eat caffeine. Don't drink caffeine, don't smoke, don't drink alcohol. It's basically a prescription for health. And so I found a document that I wrote, a little essay I wrote when I was in third grade. I found it about 2 years ago. And it's an essay. I don't know what it was for, actually, but it said, here's how a young boy should remain healthy and happy in the world. It says, you get a lot of exercise, a lot of fresh air, get good sleep, always eat good food. And all these things, I'm writing this thing in third grade. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I guess I was sort of destined to own a health club.
Yeah.
So now that I own a health club in Salt Lake City, which is the club that a tennis club that's soon to become a health club, is a place where I grew up. And I'm back with all my friends. And, you know, I tell them, you know, I'm basically culturally, I'm a Mormon because I drank one time in my life and I got sick and threw up, and that was the last time I could smell it. So I was done with that. I couldn't stand smoking ever. So I do all the things that they consider to be important. And so much of what I do is based on my upbringing in Salt Lake City, Utah. And my parents were very, very active in many, many different organizations. And yet both of them were non-Mormons. At a time when we grew up, the Mormons were like 80% of the city. Now the city of Salt Lake is like 50-50. But in any case, that embedded in me, along with my Christian upbringing in the United Church of Christ, where my mother founded a church there, was one of the people who founded it. And she was the assistant choir director for 50 years.
50 years?
That was the choir director.
Yeah.
Right. So the funny thing is, she was working with the choir director for 50 years. They retired together, started together. I mean, what partnership, you know, and they weren't married, they were just friends. That partnership of last for 50 years in the same place, right?
Yeah.
It was amazing. And interestingly enough, the choir director was a Mormon.
Oh, wow. That's
so he was the only Mormon choir director in any congregational or any, it was only 2 congregational churches, but in any Protestant church or non-Mormon church in the whole state. It was sort of interesting.
Yeah.
In any case, he's still a good friend of mine. I see him all the time. And but that church is a very, very progressive church in the state of Utah, and a lot of the values that I adopted came from that church and also the Mormon church.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, I moved to Boston in 1972 to teach tennis. And from the beginning, we opened up in the fall of 1972. We had the largest junior program in New England, partly because we were in Newton at that time, Newton, Massachusetts.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Partly because of my enthusiasm for tennis. And I am and was a very, very good tennis player. When I came in, people were pretty excited about taking lessons from me. And so I developed the largest program ever. And then, the largest program in New England at the time. And then in 1980, we sort of outgrew the clubs and it was time to buy our own club. And that's when I actually bought the Longfellow Club. But I had, in 1972, I had a staff of 15 tennis pros.
Wow, that's a lot.
And I was 24 at the time. So in any case, so I ended up bringing my tennis that both my parents are members of the Utah Tennis Hall of Fame. And I'm now a member of the New England Tennis Hall of Fame. So I sort of come by my tennis playing background and my commitment to health, honestly. It's the way I was brought up.
Yeah.
I realized long after I formed my club, I read that essay about me saying what you should do to be healthy. And it's basically a curriculum for my club.
Right. And so that curriculum, you've baked it into the Longfellow Tennis Club, it sounds like.
Well, it was only tennis originally.
Yeah.
In 1980, it was only tennis.
Right.
In 1984, we converted it to health and fitness.
Right.
So
what does it look like today in 2015? What are the cornerstones of, what was it that the little boy wrote? Health and getting good rest and exercise. How is that baked in today in your philosophy of a health club?
Well, actually, that's a good question. There's a book out called Younger Next Year.
Yes. Love that book.
It's a great book. And they say in there, like many other people do, that I don't really even use the A word. I use the term growing. I don't talk about aging.
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's a good way. Growing.
Talk about growing. Because every single decade and every single phase in your life has different positives and negatives to it, And there's a tremendous number of things that I love about my life being in my 60s that I would never change for being in my teens.
Yeah.
Even though there were some things I loved about being a teenager, there was a lot of things I didn't like. And so every decade has a different positives and negatives to it, and it's a question of how you view that. So in any case, how did I get on that? What were we talking about?
I was just wondering what those cornerstones of a prescription look like.
About exercise. So in that book, Younger Next Year, they said, and say it more than once, that the single most important way of what I would term growing in a healthy manner is exercising.
Yep.
And it's 6 or 7 days a week. That's the single most important thing you need to do. And I would actually put something above that. And we do that as much as we can. And that's attitude. That's your attitude. And there's a whole discipline on positive psychology these days. I don't know if you've
Martin Siegelman from the University of Pennsylvania.
And The Happiness Advantage was written by a guy named Acker. But there's a whole wide range of books written about positive psychology. Yeah. And so
mindset.
One of the things in which a lot of the people who are into positive psychology and positive attitudes are to ask yourself on a scale from 0 to 10, how are you feeling today? And the second I ask that question, if I'm not at a 10, I go to a 10 instantly, just because it's a habit I have of just all of a sudden I start realizing I'm breathing, I'm standing up, I'm healthy, I'm not living in the Islamic State. I'm not getting slaughtered, I've got food. So why am I not a 10? And so when you're feeling like you're a 10, and I talk to people and my staff and people all along, not that your life is perfect, but how you're feeling at this particular moment in time. And talking to you guys, I'm feeling 10. This is great. Let's go.
We're 10s. We're totally 10s.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So when you've got a positive attitude, my mother is where I got my positive attitude. She's 87. She just yesterday drove back from her sister's place who was having some health problems, and she was 90. She's 94. My mother's 87, and she drove back from Elko to Salt Lake in 4 hours on her own, just zipping along.
gosh.
But she stopped off at Wendover, Nevada on the way to play some slot machines. That's her. That's her one. That's her one addiction. She's so positive. She thinks she'll always win those slot machines. So, but never. If a big win is $50 and a big loss is $50 for her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's 87. She's driving across country, and she's great. She's actually working for me at the club part time in Salt Lake City. But she's got an unbelievably positive attitude. That's just who she is. Always positive, upbeat, always looking at the bright side. And I got that from her. I got that from her modeling. And in terms of growing and in terms of being productive and accomplishing what you want in your life, being positive and being optimistic is something that's actually can be learned and developed, and it changes everything. So, we work very, very hard to hire people who are very positive.
Absolutely.
We had to work really hard with Linda to get her to be positive.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
When we first started working with her, she couldn't smile, she couldn't laugh.
No.
She was always saying, I can't do this and I can't do that. But finally, with a lot of work, we got her thinking positively and being optimistic.
That's right. That's right.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But I think that in all of this process of being alive, having a positive mental attitude is number one. And if you do that, you're really great. Because my mother doesn't exercise as much. She's played a lot of tennis. She was in the Utah Tennis Hall of Fame. She doesn't exercise that much right now, and I wish she exercised more. But her positive mental attitude carries her through the day. And she's very, very active in, about 10 different organizations and playing bridge. And when I'm calling her up, I know she's in some meeting or party or something.
Right.
She's very, very active. So positive is one, and exercise is two, and nutrition's three.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
And you can argue about what the priority is, but you really need to be dealing with all three of those. And I've been a vegetarian and health conscious for since 1977, which is whatever that is, almost.
That's a long time. When it was still not cool yet.
Yeah.
We actually went to my former wife and I went to a workshop about healthy eating. When they convinced us that they were so right on. We came home and gave all of our food away to our neighbors and started over, cleaned the whole cupboards out.
Wow.
And we never looked back. So that was, and so we actually formed this program that I've talked to you about in the past, that Jane Poley and I founded 20 years ago, actually. And the current name of that program is called The Habits for Health and Happiness. And it's all about creating habits that enable you to live a happy and healthy life.
Yep.
And the way these things happen is by developing it into a habit.
Right.
For example, the best example, it's the easiest one to talk about, is that there's almost nobody in America who will admit to not brushing their teeth twice a day, right? I mean, they may not do it, but they don't admit it.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like some people like myself can't get up until we feel like we brush our teeth. We don't feel like we're
Right.
alive and awake.
Right by the bed.
It's a habit. It's a habit. And that needs to be the case whether you're exercising. I mean,
So great.
for example, Jane, who is the director of the water exercise program that is Linda's boss.
Wonderful.
Great lady, and who founded, along with me, the Habits, Health, and Happiness. She really can't start her day without exercising. So she's out there swimming, usually 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, and then she starts her day, and that's the way she starts her day. And that's why I start my day as some form of exercise. But if you make it part of your habit, it just becomes a part of who you are. That's also true with eating. I mean, at this point in time, to be honest with you, and there's a lot of, I don't really judge people for eating Big Macs or hamburgers. That's their choice. But for me, I don't really find it to be a very valuable way of nourishing myself, a very, very beneficial way of nourishing myself. And also, you can get a Big Mac, and that might be more than half your daily caloric allowance.
Yeah.
A lot.
In fact, I just saw a video that came to me that showed photographs of 2,000 calorie meals.
Oh.
2,000 calorie meals.
2,000 calorie meals?
Yeah. You can buy at chain stores. 2,000. That's your whole daily allotment for eating in one meal.
In one meal. Lovely.
It's not even that much food. It's just what's in there. It's an amazing,
Exactly.
Right.
an amazing video. I'll send it to you. But I don't really have any desire for a hamburger, to be honest with you. For me, I'm in heaven if I've got, brown rice and stir-fried vegetables. I'm like, that's just what I love to eat, because I feel like I'm eating something it's giving me energy, it's giving me nourishment. I know where it came from. I make it as local as possible. And I love going to farmers markets for that same reason. So if you can develop habits that encourage you to be healthy, you'll be happier, you'll be stronger. And right now, my birthday says I'm 67 years old, but I'm still feeling like I'm in my 20s. And a lot of people are still saying that they're waiting for me to grow up. So I just say, don't hold your breath. Whenever I take kids, I still coach a lot of kids tennis. I teach the number 7 ranked 12 and under boy in the country.
Wow.
And whenever I take them places, if the dad's not there, they always say, well, who's chaperoning, Laury? You know that can't be you, Laury. Who's chaperoning these kids? So anyway, those are the 3 foundations of our club, which is attitude, exercise, and nutrition. And everything else flows from all those things. And there's a 4th category, and that's community. And that is that when you look at change and having people make behavior change, it's almost impossible to do without a supportive community around you.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of people join my club because they like being a part of a positive, upbeat community where people are nice to them and friendly. And our members love their job. I mean, our staff members love their jobs just like I do. And the members like coming in, and there's we had one of our janitors recently had a stroke. Actually, he didn't have a stroke. He fell down and had head injury and was in the hospital for about 3 weeks. Orlando. You ever know Orlando?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he we had a meeting when we were talking about our core values about 5 years ago. And he doesn't speak that good of English, so I had an interpreter. And I heard him speak in Portuguese. And it was like Lincoln giving the Gettysburg Address. I was like, whoa. Because I've only heard him speak English. I mean, if I spoke any language but English, I would sound not too smart, I can speak about 5 words in 2 languages. But he actually is a brilliant man, but he didn't speak that well in English, but I heard him speak
in his native language.
It was amazing to hear what he had to say. But what he said was, I love coming to work because I love my members and the members love me.
That's right. So true.
So then when he went in the hospital, the whole club was in an uproar.
Yeah.
Raising money for him, asking how he was doing. He was out for 2 months. Everybody was walking, where's Orlando? And that's the kind of people we have, is we have janitors who are great people doing great work. He loves to clean the club. He loves to make the members happy. And he loves his job, and people love him. And we hire people who, we spend a lot of time hiring people who share the same core values we have, which is to really serve the customers and to really deliver happiness whenever possible. And he's a great example of that. So,
wow, you almost sound like Walt Disney.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, there's a lot of great things to admire about the Disney company.
Absolutely.
But there's also some things that they could use some work on too.
Sure. I suspect it's probably more fun to work for you than for the Disney Corporation.
I think a lot of them have a lot of fun there, but it's a company that big, it's challenging. But we learned a lot from them. But the one thing we would never do, in what Disney does, is that, have you all 3 been down to Disney World recently?
Not recently. But
anyway, if you go there, most of the time you're there, you know what you're doing?
Standing in line.
And we just I couldn't bear that. I could not bear to have a business model where I've taken, all 5 of my kids down there, and having them stand in line was just pure torture, And by the end of the day, you have nothing left. You're completely gone. You went on 3 rides, and it was like,
exactly.
Yeah, it
doesn't. So they have ways of doing it with these advanced passes now and stuff. But
right.
I mean, that's to us. I mean, people, while you're standing in line, Mickey Mouse walks by and take a picture of them, and I think there's a lot of great things about it. But if our members were walking in the door and staying in line to get in the club,
not so good.
They wouldn't do it. So I'm not a big line stander. So we really work very, very hard to ensure that when people come in, they have an absolutely fantastic experience. And if they don't, we want to know why and try to correct it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they really, when you walk in the door, everybody knows your name, like Cheers, right? Everybody knows your name. And you really have that sense of community. You have Jude, who's like incredible in the Longfellow Native Club, who's got her little dog Willow there, and it just feels like you're home. And it really, there's just something really wonderful about it. Plus, you've got state-of-the-art equipment. You can go do any kind of exercise. You've got amazing trainers. You've got this, healthy, happiness and Habits for Health and Happiness program. You've got physical therapy there. Like, there's everything that you need is right there. Amazing classes of all kinds. And people, there's always a group of guys playing basketball. Always a group of guys playing basketball. There's always people in the pool. And I know being an instructor in the pool, we're always accommodating the lap swimmers and the class takers and the people there for just enjoyment. Everybody's happy to accommodate everybody else. It really, and it comes from your leadership. It's great leadership who develops then great employees who put that out there. And one thing I love that you do too is interviewing your clients and asking them, what their experience is at Longfellow, and that they're on the website. So you can go to the website and you can see interviews of people saying, I love Longfellow, and they all say, because I feel like I'm part of a community, and so community is a really important thing. And I just wanted to make sure we get in the mandala. Is that how you say it? Mandala on the website. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because that has all those core values on there. And why?
Well, yes, absolutely. Well, thank you. And thank you for that wonderful testimonial, Linda. That's very heartwarming. Thank you very much. That was great. I do want to say that our most popular staff member of the whole club ever is Willow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Willow's what is a Shih Tzu maybe? Dog?
No. She's just tiny. She's full grown. She's like 7 years old.
Yeah.
But Willow, when Willow's not there, there's a pall across the people when they walk in the door. Where's Willow? Oh, where's Willow?
Yeah.
So, and Jude, of course, has been working the front desk for like over 25 years, and she knows every member, and she's an incredible human being. And
yeah, she is.
Whenever I go, it really feels good because I meet people who belong to the club who I don't know, and they say, "Oh, I love the club," and if they're at the Longfellow Sports Club in Nag, they say, "And I love Jude. She always says hello. She always says how you doing," and that makes a huge difference. And so I never take ever take Willow or Jude for granted. They're a blessing, and I feel very blessed to have them in my life for sure.
Yeah.
Regarding the Mandela, about 5-6 years ago, we went to a conference that talked a lot about the importance of having core values written down. Mm-hmm. And we had core values, but we never really wrote them down. And so we hired a friend of mine to come in and help consult with us. And we spent 2 years putting together our core values. And we wanted to do it in an inclusive way that engaged all of our staff. So literally, we engaged we have 30 managers, all of our managers. By the way, the average time our 30 managers have been with us is 19 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a long time.
We go around the room and one person said, we're going to keep doing this. I mean, I've been here almost 30 now. And I'm planning on being here another 20. And I've been here 50 years and I says, we're going to be here forever. And I'm like, well, that's the hope. It's the hope.
Yeah, right. Because they're going to live to be 100.
That's right.
That's right. So anyway, so we engaged the management team, and we engaged we called it a number of all staff meetings. We engaged them, and when we did a survey and asked people what their most important core values were, and then we held 2 retreats to go over them, and we came up with 8 core values and then we passed them around and had people comment on them, and so it was very participatory because we wanted everyone to feel ownership around the core values. And then we got done with the 8 core values. We wanted to make a graphic description of them, and we'd seen somebody who'd done a mandala, and we put it with our PR firm, and they created this beautiful, what we consider beautiful mandala, which has our 8 core values. And each of those core values has a call to action next to them. Has an expressive verb and is asking people to do something. And I'm wearing one of these right now. I'll just scan down here.
Let's see.
Oh, you can't see it.
Not quite yet. Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I got to stand up.
There you can see. What does that say?
Express appreciation with affirming words and deeds.
Yes.
Yes. Number 5.
Yeah. Now, actually, that T-shirt was made before we did the Mandela because we got rid of the numbers. We have no numbers because they're all equal.
Okay.
But that core value is there, and that call to action is there because it's not good enough to say thanks. You know what I mean? Or cool. But we're really talking about expressing, and that's really coming more from simply saying, but expressing it with your heart. Affirming words and deeds, which is not just, normal words, but beyond words, we're looking for deeds as well, so.
Right. Describing to a person what they've done that has made a positive impact on you. Yeah, that's great.
And people, and our staff really found that call to action really powerful. And and in the if you look at much of the literature on positive psychology, gratitude is way up there in terms of things to have to develop a positive mental attitude. Because the thing about feeling gratitude, it's absolutely impossible to have any kind of sense of deep gratitude and be angry, upset, lonely, frustrated. You can't. It overwhelms you, right? If you're feeling grateful, it overwhelms you.
Yeah.
And my mother said to me, "Well, I'm involved with the retired teachers, and they're looking for a new treasurer. And one of the recommendations was a woman named Mrs. I forgot her first name, darn. But Mrs. I always called her Mrs. Mark. And she said, "That's Mrs. Mark you had as a teacher in high school, right?" And I said, "Yeah, my favorite teachers. I love that lady." Because we're actually going to be having our 50th high school anniversary, reunion, in a year and a half, and we're going to be bringing back some of those teachers to express our gratitude toward them.
Awesome.
Nice. That's so nice.
I told my mom, I said, "You make sure you tell Mrs. Mark how much I love her, how much she meant to my life," and she was, of course, very appreciative to hear that.
Sure.
So,
Laurie, I'm a woman of size, and I got to tell you, I've gone to other places to help me exercise and get in better shape. And the very first vibe when you get in there for other places is competition. And the vibe of community and caring is what happens when you walk into Longfellow. And how much better of an environment for somebody to feel like they can actually accomplish the goals that you talk about, attitude, exercise, and nutrition, in that sort of a warm, connecting environment rather than one of competition and, "Oh, you shouldn't be here. What have you got those yoga pants on for, a girlfriend?" That happens, and it's a very painful thing, and it keeps me away from exercise but since I've been going to Longfellow and making friends with Willow and everybody else.
I recruited her.
She did. It's a very different. It's a very.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. It means a lot to me. Thanks for saying that. And that's reflective of I don't know which core value it fits into, but we're all about what's inside that counts. The internal is always the most important, and most of the advertising and the focus on fitness is how you look,
Yes.
And we're really less concerned about how you look, but it's more about how you feel and and how healthy are you.
And how healthy.
Right.
There's very few people who are going to have quote unquote, flat abs, right? I mean, that's just not really going to happen for 99.9% of all human beings. What we're looking for is that people are, their cholesterol is down at the right level, where their percent body fat is at a decent level, where their weight is at a level that's healthy for them. And it's almost never going to be perfect, but it can be healthy. And, that and most people walking into our club, they know that what we're trying to do is help them become healthy, which is not the same as looking perfect.
Right.
Exactly.
That's not really what we're talking about. And so we have a tremendous number of people who walk into the club who would never exercise in another location because they would feel too intimidated.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
You know what? We are, unfortunately, we're out of time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much that we could talk to you about. and we're, I know I can speak for all of us, hoping that maybe you'll come back and talk to us again, because there's a lot to talk about the core values. They're so important to all of us, certainly to mighty married moms and dads and people everywhere. And we didn't even get to your Sustainable Business Network, which I also find extremely fascinating, and all the core values that translate over into establishing that as well. And it has been amazing talking to you always.
Thank you so much.
Really inspiring. I feel I'm totally inspired, and it's a great way to start the day. Talking about all these core values makes you feel appreciative and very grateful that you did this
my
interview.
attitude is sweet.
Well, I have a question, So what are you at right now, Linda? What are you right now?
What am I?
Yeah, what are you? You a 9, a 6, a 7?
Oh, I'm a 10. I'm really a 10. Yeah, there's no way I'm not a 10 after this conversation.
Yes, it's
What are
great.
you? What are you?
Wendy?
No, Wendy, what are you? Yeah.
I'm totally a 10.
Yeah.
I'm totally jazzed up. 10. There you
All
go.
right.
Woo, 10.
I'm a 10. Let's go. We're a bunch of
That's right.
10. Come on.
Woo!
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's good. We turned up the volume. It's awesome.
Thank you very much. All right.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you,
again,
Laury.
Laury.
Thank you.
Okay,
And
bye-bye.
thank you, viewers. And again, you can find us on iTunes at Mighty Married Moms. And please subscribe and tell us what you think about this amazing show.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Mighty Married Moms. Tune in twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays to meet fascinating and inspiring guests who will help you create the life you've always wanted.
You can find these episodes and special gifts just for you at mightymarriedmoms.com, as well as a link to our Facebook community.
Where we continue the conversation around the kitchen table. Please also help share the love by leaving a review on iTunes. We'll see you next time.